So thank you everybody for being here today, and welcome to the 2024 Ask Us Anything webinar for our Ray of Hope Accelerator. So just to, as I said, to get us all acquainted, I'll ask that you add your name or your startup name or organization name to your tag, so we can get to see who's in the room. And yeah, jump into the chat and let us know where you're calling from. I think we've got a pretty wide calling group from all over the world, so excited to see who is here. So while you are doing that, I'm just going to cover some few housekeeping items. So before everybody starts asking, yes, the webinar will be recorded and will be made available on our website within the next week. To ensure that this recording is actually pretty clear, we would ask that everybody keeps their mics muted, just so that we can make sure that the audio is clear when we share it out. And then during the verbal Q&A session at the end, we'll then ask you if you want to ask a question. We'll ask you to use the raise your hand function, so you can unmute yourself and ask your question then. But we also have the Q&A section at the bottom, so as your questions arise throughout the presentation, just feel free to jump in and add your questions to that Q&A section, and then a member of our team that's on the call will either answer them directly there, or we'll keep a note of them so that we make sure to address them in the presentation or at the Q&A at the end. So some housekeeping stuff. So let's jump in. So thank you again for registering and taking the time to be here today. Especially, I'm presuming a lot of you on the call are startup founders. So we know how busy your schedules are. So taking the time out of your day to be here is very much appreciated. And we would invite you, if you're a startup that aligns with our mission and the requirements that we're going to go through today. We have our upcoming deadline for our 2024 cohort is May 3rd. So our application link can be found on our website and all the information that we're going to go through today. So make sure you go on over there to apply before that deadline. So on that note, we're going to jump into some introductions. So hi, everybody. I'm Sarah McInerney. I'm the program manager for the Ray of Hope Accelerator here at the Biomimicry Institute. And I'll be one of the hosts today, and I'll be supported by my colleague, Mylise Renaud, who is our program lead. And then one of the things that we do pride ourselves on in our programs is that we prioritize building relationships before jumping into tasks. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of the webinar, we wanted just to share a little bit about ourselves so that you know who's talking to you. So my name is Sarah. I am Irish originally. I moved to Cleveland, Ohio back in 2017 to pursue my PhD in integrated bioscience. I'm a zoologist and an educator. My PhD itself focused on the potential of nature-inspired innovation within corporate environments and how that can potentially promote sustainable innovation, corporate sustainability strategies, and overall employee engagement. So I kind of had this overlap between industrial and environmental psychology. So a bit of a mixed bag of skills. So I completed that work in 2021 and have been at the Institute ever since. So I am married to my husband, Drew. That's pretty recent, so that's still weird to say. We have a beautiful 130-pound dog called Cope. My main travel journey that I like to share that really inspired my nature inspiration journey was when I was 12. I got to travel to Kenya, where my brother was living at the time, and I got to interact with the Masai Mara there and learn their culture and their relationship to the land, and that really just sparked my fascination with this whole world, and that's still what I nerd out about today. So in my spare time, I'm fascinated about our own psychology and culture and wellness, and then how that's tied into our personal environment, our global environment, and our overall health, and then the role of nature-inspired solutions and how does that play within that system. So that's me. That's what I nerd out about, and I'll hand it over to Mylise.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you all. And I'm Maëlys. A little bit about me. I come from France, from two regions with very strong characters, Brittany and Corsica, the Atlantic Oceans and crepes on one side, and the Mediterranean Sea and charcuterie on the other sides. I'm currently based in Los Angeles. I moved here as a science diplomat about 5 years ago. I am now the Climate Tech Cities lead locally, and I contribute to kind of like building that climate and sustainability local community. But what I love most about the Ray of Hope Accelerator is that we welcome startups from all around the world, and I love to zoom in and zoom out. I have a master's degree in chemistry from Sorbonne University and a master's in business law focused on innovation. I am married to my husband, filmmaker Ricky Rhodes, and I'm the cat mom of Athena. She's very cute. My nature inspiration really comes from growing up in the countryside of Brittany, horse riding, canoeing, and early on, I actually witnessed the sinking of a tanker off the coast of where I grew up, and it covered the entire ecosystem in oil. And this led me to build a passion around circular bioeconomy. And I'm also, I love nerding about understanding the climate capital stack. And I love cooking, and that's not going anywhere. Back to you, Sarah.
Awesome. Thank you, Maëlys. So yeah, now that you just kind of have a better understanding of who you're talking to, we also have two more employees from the innovation team on the call. So Jared is our, thank you for the wave. So Jared is our Director of Innovation, and he's calling from Pennsylvania. And then we have Dave Hutchins, who is the Program Manager for our sister program, Launchpad. He's calling in from Montana. So they'll be available to answer any questions during our Q&A portion too. So just to get into what the agenda is for today, we're going to do a quick overview of what the Biomimicry Institute is and the Ray of Hope program. We'll do an overview of the Ray of Hope Accelerator and the specifics around that program. We'll review the eligibility and selection criteria, go through the selection process and the kind of timelines around that. And then we'll jump into the open Q&A session at the end. So that is the plan. So to kick us off, we're going to start to play just a short video from our founder, Janine Benyus, that succinctly, better than I would do, describes our kind of overall nature-inspired, like org-wide mission for a nature-inspired future. So Jared, I'll hand it over to you.
So biomimicry is innovation inspired by nature. And it's a new way of inventing by looking to the natural world for our inspiration, for how, and asking before we design anything, what would nature do here? When we're doing biomimicry is we're looking for nature's designs, you know, its structures and its forms, because they're so elegant, they're so energy efficient. We're looking at its processes, its recipes, and the chemistries that are so life-friendly. And then we're also looking at its strategies on an ecosystem level, right? How do all these organisms interact in a way that enhances this place? And by looking to the natural world for our models and as our mentor, what we're trying to do is emulate that to create a more sustainable world, more sustainable products, policies, right? New ways of living that will allow us to live more gracefully on this planet.
Jared. So with that as our overall vision of a nature-inspired future, our mission at the Biomimicry Institute is to create a nature-positive, inclusive, and regenerative world through inspired and guided by nature's genius. So we do that through three core initiatives, which is science education, science communication, and science innovation. So our education arm, we host a global youth design challenge for K-12 students. And we also develop K-12 lesson plans that we disseminate across the world for educators. Our science communication arm, we have an incredible Ask Nature website. If you haven't explored it, I encourage you to do so. It's just an awesome library of biological strategies and innovation pages, curated absolutely beautifully, so that you can explore this kind of whole nature-inspired world. And then one piece that we're incredibly proud of is our award-winning animation series. So it's about a 2 to 5 minute animation videos that very beautifully communicate the science behind nature-inspired innovations. and startups, which you can see on our YouTube channel. So make sure to check those out as well. And finally, it's over to us, which is the innovation team. So within science innovation, we have our sister program, which Dave leads, which is our Launchpad program. And this is designed to empower nature-inspired scientists, engineers, designers, artists to explore their own entrepreneurial journey and the commercial potential of their nature-inspired ideas. This is a free 10-week program, and it's very much focused on supporting individuals, whereas the Ray of Hope program is focused on supporting established nature-inspired startups. So that's kind of the core difference between the two. So we'll jump to the next slide. So this is just to give a quick overview of the evolution of the Ray of Hope program. So we were established back in 2016 as a $100,000 prize competition. During this time, we supported very early stage nature-inspired kind of design concepts. And this was known as our Ray of Hope Prize. But by 2019, it was kind of clear that to meet our impact goals and this overall vision of a nature-inspired future, we needed to support more established startups that were implementing upon these ideas and who had like a clear impact potential and had identified market fit. So we made that pivot in 2020. So from 2020 to 2023, we created a new 10-week program to support early stage nature-inspired startups, which still accumulated in one startup receiving a $100,000 prize. Hence, we retained the name of the Ray of Hope Prize. And this was a really, really successful model, but we consistently heard from our alumni that although the award was nice, the true value of the program really was the community, the deep connection to like-minded entrepreneurs, and the science communication support and the focus on environmental and sustainable business practices. So that's kind of core to the program that we lead. So in response to that feedback, 2024, so this year we have evolved and extended our program again. So it is now a 6-month accelerator, hence the name change to the Ray of Hope Accelerator. And all participating startups will be receiving equal access to 15K in non-dilutive funding. So we are very, very, very happy about this, this evolution. So this additional time will give us the opportunity to really just get to know the startups we're working with. So more touch points to learn about what you need so that we can create a more bespoke program, activate our network, and create more tailored matchmaking with stakeholders to best support your needs at that time. And then by removing the prize model, we hope to really embody this relationships before task model and create a more engaged community kind of led programming with peer-to-peer learning so that the cohort can come together as one and support each other throughout the 6-month program, but then also throughout your entire entrepreneurial journey. And we're seeing that over and over again with our awesome alumni community. So I'm incredibly proud of our internal team and the commitment of the Institute to stay true to this mission. So to accelerate the growth of nature-inspired startups to scale systemic solutions to the world's most pressing environmental challenges. So we will continue to listen and respond to the changing needs of our participants and stakeholders. Jared added this piece, which I think is awesome, of including our largest stakeholder, which is planet Earth. Very, very true. And I hope we can continuously learn and keep listening and responding to the needs of all of our stakeholders. So we have been changing every 4 years. So we'll see what the next 4 years have in store. But no matter what, we do remain true to our commitment to supporting early stage nature-inspired startups. And there's many reasons as to why, but I wanted to briefly touch on a few of kind of the overarching hurdles in the space that I'm sure most of you on the call are already aware of. But I wanted to outline then what is our specific value adds as the Ray of Hope Accelerator program itself. So for nature-inspired startups, often these are deep tech startups, oftentimes university spin-outs founded in deep scientific or technical understanding of biological systems. That's not to say that's always the case, but it's often the case. And it's due to this deep tech focus there's so many hurdles to scaling, so which include the capital intensity for access to lab facilities and equipment and viability testing, developmental cycles and time to exit is oftentimes an awful lot longer. And that's due to the technical, regulatory, and commercial hurdles in the space. And then you add the complexity of tackling environmental challenges in entrenched industries with large incumbents. So it makes it a lot more challenging to reach customers, to gain investors, etc. So with all that, there's obviously a clear need in the market today for founder-friendly accelerators. And what I mean by that is that accelerators that really are here to help you with what you need as of right now, to meet you where you are and help you scale. So minimal time and resource commitment, access to equity-free funding, and engaged community of peers and mentors, which is something that we are very proud to say that we offer. A unique value add to our specific program is that we are the only accelerator in the world specifically focused on nature-inspired innovation. And being embedded and an integral part of the Biomimicry Institute as a whole, we have an unrivaled network of experts across sectors, functional skills, and geographies with this specific nature-inspired knowledge and expertise. So for all of those reasons and more, we are committed and will always be committed to supporting early stage nature-inspired startups tackling our most pressing environmental challenges. So yeah, this slide, thank you, Jared. So we are extremely proud of and privileged to work with the startups that we've had the opportunity to work with. So this is an overview of our portfolio since 2020. We have over 39 companies from 15 different countries across diverse sectors from built environment, textiles, agriculture, new materials, remediation tech, fundamental chemistries, the list goes on. And what is absolutely incredible is that all of these startups are growing and scaling today. So this is an incredible track record that we are very, very proud of. So we'll just take a quick snapshot of this track record and just look at a few alumni stories. So here we have Werewolf, which is an all-female founding team based out of New York. And they're creating a revolutionary fiber development platform to create biodegradable fibers with tailored aesthetic and performance properties inspired by nature. eConcrete is an Israeli-based company who offer environmentally sensitive concrete solutions designed to encourage the development of diverse marine life and ecosystems, and they're an integral part of being embedded within the coastal infrastructure, which is awesome to see the blur between those two industries of environmental good and the cement industry there. We also have Seprify, which is a Swiss company. They were inspired by the bright white of this beetle, and they're mimicking the structural composition of the shell itself to create a cellulose structure that produces a safer and better performing white pigment than the intensively mined titanium dioxide alternative that is used today. And then in 2022, we had Fusion Bionic, which is a German company who are using or have created a novel laser patterning technique to enable the creation of micro and nanoscale surface textures and topographies on a diversity of different materials that enable nature-inspired functional surfaces. So within this screenshot, we have textiles, marine infrastructure, advanced materials, and enabling technology with advanced manufacturing, and a diverse representation of sectors and geographies, all nature-inspired, all tackling massive environmental challenges. And of these four, Werewolf and Seprify have closed their seed round. eConcrete has raised over 10 million in funding, and Fusion Bionic are already generating revenue. So this is just an awesome snapshot of 4 startups compared to the 39 portfolio that we have, and all their stories are similar. So this is all since our pivot in 2020 to focus on early stage startups. So this is to just dive a little bit more into what we've been doing since 2020 that has enabled us to establish this type of track record. So as I said, we have 39 visionary startups in our portfolio. Each year, we only have 1 call for applications, and each year we receive over 200 applications. Given that we have only 1 cohort and we support up to 10 startups each year, that's a less than 5% acceptance rate. And I truly believe that this is the secret sauce to our track record, is our rigorous selection process, which Melise will cover in more detail. But in general, of the 200 applications we receive each year, many are often nominated or referred by our extensive network of experts across both nature-inspired and technical fields. We have over 50 pipeline partners and a selection committee of over 20 experts who conduct additional due diligence throughout the review process. And this is all to say that this highly selective vetting process, we are able to bring together pretty much the best of the best. I know I sound biased, but I do love who I get to work with. But through having this type of rigor within selection, it not only strengthens our portfolio, but it also strengthens our programs. So with such high caliber cohort of startups, with such vast experience and knowledge in the space, just makes for exceptional peer-to-peer learning opportunities and mentorship. And that extends beyond the current cohort. We, as I said, our alumni community are engaged and often act as mentors and allies to help you navigate this nature-inspired climate tech space based off their own personal entrepreneurship journeys and of course, their lessons learned. So they are an active part of our programs too. So, and this is really it. I honestly believe that it's through this high caliber of startups and the diversity of solutions across sectors and geographies that we can have this significant impact tackling global climate challenges. So it really is an honor to be able to bring such diversity together through this program. So since 2020, we've supported startups from 15 different countries. 40% of our 39 portfolio companies have been founded by female founders. And we also strive to have a balanced male to female representation throughout our program. So through our selection committee members, speakers, mentors, investors, and a range of other stakeholders. And we're always eager to grow this ecosystem. I think that's another piece of our secret sauce. So it really is, it's this ecosystem-driven model that has proven to be successful for us, with over 100 million invested in our portfolio to date. And we aim to accelerate this number by focusing on creating this bespoke program, personalized matchmaking with one-on-one introductions with aligned stakeholders, so that we can leverage our network of over 100 investors and accelerators, engage our aligned corporate partners, which include NASA, Bentley, and L'Oreal, to name a few. And then to leverage our incredible network of over 100 experts and mentors across sectors, functional skills, and geographies, with that very unique nature-inspired focus to provide you with the support that you need right now. So that is a lot for me. I'm going to hand it over to Melise to get into more of the program overview itself.
Let's chat about the Ray of Hope Accelerator in more details here. As Sarah mentioned, we're recruiting the 10 best nature-inspired startups addressing the world's most pressing environmental challenges. So I'll go through some of the details in the next about 10 minutes. It is a 6-month program that starts on September 9th and conclude in February next year. This is primarily a virtual program, except for 1 week in person, and I'll get to it. Next, this is a free program. Each participating startup is being awarded $15,000 in non-dilutive capital and $15,000 of in-kind services across our program pillars. There is an in-person component, and this is definitely one of the highlights of this program. This is what we want to do to start the program, kick us off, and get to know each other. So this year, it will take place from September 26th to October 2nd. And we're planning to meet in New York at New York Climate Week for an event to showcase the 2024 cohorts to the broader climate ecosystem. And this will be followed by a 4-day nature retreat in the Catskills, about 3 hours from New York, to build community, to get to know you. And all, Jared, and all expenses are paid. And next, here are our main program pillars focused on providing startups with impact and sustainability business training, meeting with like-minded investors and corporates, science communication and innovation storytelling, supporting as well as content creation. Next. And I also wanted to mention that a lot of the program will be bespoke to the needs of each startup, as Sarah mentioned. And this is where our extensive networks comes in and or is engaged. So we have a network of nature-inspired enthusiasts, mentors, investors, corporate entrepreneurs, and we include them in the program. Then, yeah, as part of this, you'll gain access through the program to potential corporate partners to develop proof of concept or pilots. And here on the next slide, a quick snapshot of some of the investors in our network. And most of them listed here already invested in our portfolio companies. So I won't go in detail here, but we can jump to the program commitment. So we designed the program to be pretty light touch and complementary to your day-to-day activities. It represents about 4 to 5 hours a week, and this includes 1 to 2 max live sessions per week, regular check-ins with our team, and opportunities for one-on-ones. A highlight I mentioned of the program is our time spent together, and so we invite 2 team members, including at least 1 founder or 1 executive team member, to attend the program in New York and in the countryside around New York for the retreats. One key aspect of the program is, of course, your engagement and consistent engagement from at least 1 founder or exec team member. And this is really required to attend the program, to participate in the program content, and engage with the materials and contribute to the sessions. And then, as mentioned before, the program is free. Here are some things that our alumni are saying. And Sarah, if you want to jump in here.
Sure. I will go with the first one here. So this is coming from one of our alumni a couple of years ago. So not only was our startup elevated by the process, but being in the company of other viable nature-inspired solutions empowered us to know that collectively we are making serious progress against seemingly intractable problems. Do you want me to go through all?
I'll go to the next. The program was well thought out with great organization down to tiny details.
The Ray of Hope Accelerator program is unlike any other we've participated in. I really felt a huge support and motivation from the organizing team.
One that I enjoyed particularly, great opportunity to work on storytelling, strengthen our knowledge of biomimicry, and improve our communication around it.
A special memory forever, which I'm guessing is in relation to our time spent together, which is, of course, a special memory always.
It's so nice to hear again. Let's jump into our eligibility and selection criteria. Now that we mentioned the program offerings, so of course we're looking for alignment with our thesis of supporting nature-inspired solution and technologies. Sarah mentioned a little bit about this. I just wanted to mention again that this is a broad classification of innovation. It encompasses a great number of technologies, categories, and as you so our portfolio is pretty diverse in terms of industries and sectors. In general, though, nature-inspired solution draws inspiration from the natural world, often adapting biological strategies and principles and properties, ecological relationships, or other aspects of nature strategies. So your nature-inspired solution may be grounded in deep scientific research, evolve from an understanding of biological systems, or be enabling a bio-inspired solution. Then in terms of development stage that we're looking at, we support early stage companies from pre-seed to Series A, and with a working prototype, so often a TRL of 4 minimum, which is a lab scale demonstration of a complete system. Historically, the startups that we supported had secured to $50,000 to $5 million in funding, and have at least 2 full-time employees. So of course there are exceptions. You might not tick all the boxes, but if you don't tick any boxes, then you might want to consider your application. And as mentioned before, we support startups from all around the world. We're global. And yeah, startup must be established. So in terms of legal entity, we asked you to have an established legal entity before entering the program, and that allows you to receive the non-dilutive capital that we provide to all the startups entering the program. And finally, this is really, really important, and this is why it's part of our eligibility criteria. We require at least one founder or exec team member to be consistently engaged in the program and to be in person in New York late September. From there, let's move into the selection criteria. In the application form, you'll see questions covering them all. Where we ask you about your problem and market potential. So is the problem worth solving? Is the potential market size large enough for sustained growth? Is it aligned with possible funding source? And we'll ask you questions about your current traction of your solution. We also want to hear about your solution and technology. Is it disruptive? Does it demonstrate sustainable competitive advantage? We're really excited, of course, to learn more about your nature inspiration. And do you clearly communicate about the science behind it? A key aspect of our program, of course, and about your solution will be the environmental and social impact. So what is the benefit of this solution in the world? And have you explored the positive and negative implications of that solution? And last but not least, of course, the team. It's a key aspect. And yeah, do you have the people, the diversity and the core capabilities that you need to get to the next milestone? So we'll look into this when we'll review your application. And we're currently in the middle of our application cycle, with the deadline being May 3rd. On our website, you can go and click apply now. You'll be taken to Unoodle. It's a platform for this. You'll have to create an account, and we often say that submitting the form online takes about 45 minutes. And of course, that is the case. For example, if you've applied to other programs before, then you probably have like all the material ready. It might take a little longer if you're crafting your responses for the first time. You'll be asked to upload a pitch deck and a 1-minute elevator pitch. Please, the production value is not important. Here we want to know the person behind the application. So we want a 1-minute recording either on your smartphone or on Zoom, and that will be just fine. Then from May to June, we have a rigorous selection process starting May 4th. So we'll go pretty quick there. It has 3 steps. We often receive over 200 applications. So internally, we review the applications and we select the top 10. From these 30 applications, they'll go through an external review with our selection committee of technical business experts. That includes also investors and corporate partners. And then our team will also conduct short interviews, 15-minute interviews, which each of the 30 applicants. One thing is that we often get asked if feedback is available. We do our best to provide constructive feedback to the top 30 applicants, but at this time, unfortunately, we're not able to provide feedback to the large pool of applicants, the over 200 applicants at this time. I just wanted to mention that because it's a question that we get often. We'll announce the top 10 and the selected startup and invite them to participate in the program mid-July. And we'll go through an onboarding process in August before the program starts early September. And we'll go to the next. I think we're about to answer all your questions, and I'm sure you have some of them. Hopefully we've answered as many as we could before. And please contribute to the Q&A chat box. And yeah, off to you, Sarah.
Awesome. Thank you, Maëlys. Yeah, so feel free to use, some of you already have thrown some questions into the Q&A. There is, I believe, that raise hand function. So if you would like to unmute and ask your question, you can. But yeah, we'll jump on in. So we have a couple that have come through on the Q&A. One was about, do you work exclusively with for-profit companies, or do you also work with non-profit organizations? So historically, we've primarily worked with for-profit companies, just giving the resources and kind of the program pillars and content that we focus on. They're just more often aligned with scaling for-profit companies. But as Miley said, within our selection and eligibility criteria, if you're ticking a lot of those boxes, we would always encourage you to apply. Your application will be reviewed. So I hope that is helpful.
Can I take one, sir?
I was just about to throw it your way.
Oh, perfect. We had a great question come in asking, it says that your program focuses on climate tech companies. Would healthcare companies like bio-inspired medical devices be eligible? Yes, we have worked with medical device companies in the past. What I'll say is this program is not best or really set up to support those that will have to go through rigorous like FDA approval processes. So if like pharmaceuticals and whatnot are not in our wheelhouse, medical devices are a bit different, and we think often can really contribute to sustainable solutions. And we would encourage you, if you're thinking about applying, to pursue kind of from that lens. So I hope that answers the question. And if you have more questions about any of these, you can send us an email to info@biomimicry.org, especially if you have some more specific questions that we can go in to more depth with you on. So.
There was another couple of questions around the application, around the pitch deck and the required video. So for the pitch deck, we don't have a formal request of what needs to be shown. I would suggest aligning with the selection criteria. So making sure that you are clearly demonstrating the science behind your nature-inspired technology and innovation, the problem that you're solving, the environmental and social implications, that you've thought through all these, your team, and then your progress and traction to date. So pretty standard, as a normal pitch deck would be, but making sure that nature inspiration kind of science understanding is made clear. As for the video that we ask, we do not care about production value. Please do not spend a lot of time creating a beautiful video. A smartphone video recording, a 1-minute Zoom recording is totally fine. We really just want to get to know the person behind the innovation. So in that 1-minute elevator pitch, we're really just trying to understand who the founders are. So yeah, please don't waste time on production.
Let's take your question, Adrien, if you want to unmute.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. Probably you've pretty much answered the question, but we're a research lab and we're developing smart materials that deform with temperature. We haven't yet a proper startup, like a legal company. And we're TRL 3, maybe 4, 3.5, let's say. So I don't know if we quite fit in the program, or if it's a little bit early for us. If it's is it worth for us to to apply for the program or not? Because in particular, we don't have a specific application yet. We foresee many different possible applications, but we're not fixed on one yet. So
I will take this, and then Jared, Miley, please feel free to jump in. What I would encourage you to do would be to go onto our website. There's a PDF of our application questions, and to review those. The application process itself, we don't expect to take too long for a startup. So If you're aligning with most of these other requirements, I would still encourage you to apply. And especially what we often do is within our pipeline and recruitment for the following year, we often go back to our applications year over year and re-invite. So if it isn't a fit for this year, you'll at least be within our community so that we can reach out to you in upcoming years. That would be my Jared, Maëlys, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'll just say from our side, we would need you to be organized as a startup company to be eligible to participate. So we need that legal entity. So at a minimum, that's something that is a requirement for joining the program.
All right.
Yep. Well, thanks for the great question, Adrian. And yeah, really excited to see your work develop. Yeah.
Thanks.
Jared, would you like to add to that and touch on some of the other questions that came up of what a university count as a legal entity?
Yeah, so for us, so yeah, yes, definitely a legal entity, but for us, we're looking to support the startups directly. We want this funding and monetary and the in-kind support to go directly to the startups. So I think if you're at the stage where you're still in the university ecosystem, you might be a little too early. And like Sarah said, you can definitely apply, spend an hour. I think it will be helpful to get all those questions down. And then we can have you in our system and invite you to reapply next year. And we get to see how much great traction you've made. Actually, quite a lot of our companies have done that. They've applied 1 year and then the next year they get in. And part of that is we get to see how great of traction they made over the course of a year. So, yep. Thanks for those great questions. Let's see.
And I think that answered the question is also for, we have a question, would an online education started in an innovative way be considered as a legal entity? So it would really depend like what type of like entity, like legal entity would that be? And we haven't like focused on such projects before. We haven't had like online education historically as part of our like organizations that we support. But yeah, curious to like maybe hear more. What would that be, and if it's like a scientific application, which I'm not sure I get there. And if you have a question, feel free to also raise your hands and maybe ask us here directly.
There is another question here in the Q&A about, do we need to mark the sections of our application that are confidential? We do encourage people when they're filling out the application to make sure that you're sharing information that is public and open access. We will do additional due diligence through interviews with our top 30, and that's when we can ask for that type of material if it's necessary. If there is information that you feel like you want to share, that is totally your decision. And you can add a text that says confidential within the application itself. But we would encourage you to keep information that is public and open access. I see one other.
I see a raised hand, so let me know if I pronounce your name right, but Tandisai, we're first here.
Hi, Chris. Hi, yes, it's Tandisai. I wrote my question in the Q&A box, but I'll say it here. So my startup is an extended reality company. We focus on creating like VR, augmented reality, but with a nature-focused approach. We really want to make it for organizations that advance environmental causes, as well as, foster a connection with nature. And it's also going to be a lab where we're creating what I'm calling a bio-immersive design process. So I don't know if this at all would fit into the criteria, because you can't put, I don't know how well biomimicry works with the virtual environments. So is that something that could be considered, or should I just not apply?
Jared, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Dennis, what I'd recommend is, can you send us an email to info@, or reach out to us I'd like to learn more. Historically, the program has been best suited for those creating physical products or physical processes. And that's solely because this program is really designed to scale solutions to big systemic problems. And when we define those systemic problems, we're really talking about the material palettes that are being used today. Doesn't mean we don't think that's a great idea. And I'm wondering if it might actually be a good fit for our Launchpad program down the line, or for some of the other ways to support. So I'd love to learn more. And don't want to give you a yes or no right at the moment, but if you could send us some more info, that would be great. Cool. And then it looks like Christine, you have your hand up here.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. I've spent like many years of my life in the field teaching, as well as in the college classrooms. But like I've been on 12 different field studies, learning about the different aspects of species in biomimicry. I've studied at the University of Akron in the integrated bioscience department, and I've published papers related to biomimicry and bioremediation. But I'm a little confused between the Biomimicry Accelerator and the Ray of Hope. So I teach at Duquesne University in the biochem department, and I adjunct. I have at different universities, and I'm a swim instructor. So, and I own biotech. I own Advanced Bioscience Sustainable Solutions, and I have 12 smart story gardens that talk about what I've learned in the field. So I've been on field studies with Chance, Penn State Chance. I've taken students out with YSU's programs with geology and some other types. I've been on a lot of them, or I was the one helping teach with and other professors were with us. So it could be like Juan Mate, who's one of the best oceanographers. But I'm saying I have a lot of experience with the species and the connections between. I've taken most of my coursework was that. But when you come to these, if it's 9 months, I'm working on a national NSF grant right now.
Hey, Christine, I'm so sorry to cut you off. We have a lot of other questions. Could you share your question that you might have with us?
What's the difference between the Biomimicry Accelerator and the Ray of Hope? Because I work other jobs, and like I'm doing a national grant, and so that requires 7 weeks over the summer, and I've already signed contracts for different things. So like, how does that overlap, and what are the qualifications? Like, what does it take to get qualified to be part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would recommend you do is, if you go to our website and look at our innovation programs, we run 2 different programs: the Ray of Hope Accelerator, which is what Sarah and Mylise just presented here today. And then we have the Biomimicry Launchpad program, which is designed for researchers and those that are in the early stages of exploring biomimicry and bio-inspired solutions. So for us as an organization, those are the 2 programs that we support. And I hope that answers your question. Of course, you can reach out to us at info@ if you have more details, but I want to make sure we get to some of these other questions here. So I'm gonna jump over to Ilse.
Hi, thank you all for the presentation and for sharing about
Absolutely.
yourselves too. My question is around the new format for the program, being 6 weeks versus 6 months versus 10 weeks. I know you mentioned there's gonna be like coaching sessions every week or so. So I was just wondering if there will be like other events or engagement, like to work together, or are we going to have some courses too that can come into part of the training? If you can share something around that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So we have a kind of online platform where we host resources, and we often bring in different experts and mentors to host either workshops or speaking engagements, whatever it might be. And that would be on a weekly cadence. So there is touch points within the cohort week by week. So the content that we lay out on the online platform will have a logical progression week through week through those pillars that we mentioned. So going through the sustainable business training. So we'll start very much with a general overview of kind of the field, and then we'll get more into the applications of that knowledge across green chemistry, supply chain, culture development, whatever it might be. So each of the weeks will have kind of that buildable kind of learning journey, and it will be a peer-to-peer platform. So we will be inviting the cohort to come together and kind of provide their own experience and insight, and then adding in additional experts to host those kind of working sessions. So that will be week over week. Yeah. Great question.
Yes, Benedict, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Quick question. You might have covered this, but I might have missed it. Do you assign during the program one mentor per startup? Or that's not how it works.
In the past, we have aligned our alumni with one of our new cohort members, just kind of to build that overall alumni engagement and community, and that often stems into kind of a mentorship engagement. We would ideally love to align a expert or technical expert, nature-inspired, whichever might be, that's of relevance to each of the startups. To be fully transparent, we haven't had the internal capacity to be able to manage that within the 10 weeks program. To get to know the startups, identify a mentor, make that connection and build it out. So that is one of the reasons why we have extended it into the 6-month program, so that we can more effectively do that. So that is very much on our cards. So ideally on that onboarding call in August, that's where we'd be hoping to find out who those potential mentors are that you're aware of, and then hopefully we can start building those relationships for each of the individual startups.
Yeah, and I would just love to add in there, Sarah. I didn't get to introduce myself. So I'm the director of innovation. I've worked with early stage startups for about 10 years now. And one of the values I've seen is actually in having one-on-one relationships with the actual program team. So yes, we'll definitely bring in experts and mentors along the way, but your main one-on-one point of contact will be with the Biomimicry Institute team, because we think that's the best way that we can invest and support our companies as they go through the program and growth.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you.
I don't see any more questions here, and I think we have a little video to share with you all. Jared, would you like to share your screen again?
Yes, Jared is pulling that up.
Absolutely.
Any last minute thoughts? As we said, there is our email is on our website. All of this information is also on our website, and then the recording of this webinar will be up next week, early next week. So please, if there's additional comments or questions, feel free to email us, and we'll try and get back to you in a timely manner. And don't forget, if all this aligns, May 3rd is our application deadline. So make sure you get your applications in soon. And Jared, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, with that, thank you all and enjoy this short clip.
The next time you go outside, keep an eye out for the trees, the wildlife, the very ground beneath your feet. You're walking not just in nature, but in a library, a laboratory, a world of solutions, innovation, and regeneration. If you see others along the way, say hello. They might be like Isabella, Roger, Matt, and June, hikers guiding their nature-inspired startups into the future. They were selected from hundreds around the world not to get away from the stress of startup life, but to join others also bringing life-friendly solutions to billion-dollar extractive industries. These innovators are bold, taking on challenges that most shy away from, just like the namesake of our program itself. While nature doesn't appear on anyone's balance sheet, it's their biggest asset. And now they're learning that accelerators can and should include slow group hikes. See, we understand that like the forest around them, sustained growth relies on making as many meaningful connections as possible. So here they are, sharing an unforgettable experience in nature. If you do come upon them, listen in. Some of them have been here before. You'll hear them share with others how they've gone from an impossible idea to seed round, appeared in major media outlets, staked their claim in the marketplace. And you'll come to understand why they all say this program, the Ray of Hope Prize, stands apart. The people, putting relationships before tasks. Over time, long after this hike is over, the achievements of any of their individual companies will pale in comparison to what this group of cross-industry leaders will do as a cohort, continuing to learn from and support each other. Systemic problems will be met with systemic solutions. So next time you go outside, tune into nature. Whether you're with other people or by yourself, you'll still meet the next great innovator of our day. Then visit us to learn more.
Awesome. Thank you, Jared. That was a couple of scenes from our retreat a couple of years ago, and it just makes my heart so happy to just spend time with friends and just these awesome, awesome entrepreneurs. So hopefully this can be you in September for our retreat for the 2024 cohort. So on that note, thank you all again for your time. Thank you, Jared, for doing an awesome slide deck presentation, and Mylise and Dave for being here for questions. And yeah, I'll give you all 2 minutes back. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a
Bye.
good day.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.